A very good morning to all my dear students. Today I will be introducing a new concept of management, holacracy, which is gaining popularity and in this pandemic has become a necessity. Once this introductory session is finished, I recommend you to go through various books and journals to get more information about the various intricacies of the concept. Then we will have an interactive session day after tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. and learn from each other. So now, let's see what holacracy is. It is a self-management practice for running purpose-driven, responsive companies or institutions. So under a holacratic concept, the employees are not directed, rather they are self-motivated. It empowers people to make decisions and drive change from anywhere in an organization. A holacracy practice unleashes the untapped creativity in an organization. Thus, we can say that a holacracy approach motivates employees to come up with creative ideas which contribute to the organization as a whole. It allows people to better pursue its purpose in the world. Now let's see the way we have been structuring organizations till now. If you look at the top left hand side of the corner of the slide, it is clearly evident that there are three layers of management in the traditional hierarchical system. There are three layers of management in the traditional hierarchical system: the lower level management, the middle level, and the top level. The lower level management deals with the middle level management or takes orders from the middle level management. The middle level managers take orders from the top level management. So all the employees are not integrated. The lower level always tries to satisfy the middle level, and the middle level always tries to satisfy the top level. In this process, basically what happens is the holistic development of the organization is hindered, which affects the growth of the organization. Now let us see what are the limitations of this traditional way of hierarchical system, or what limits useful changes in organizations. If you can look at the slide, it is clear. There is fear of bosses, resistance to change. People resist to change because they are afraid if they come up with some new ideas, they may be pulled up. Lack of engagement. They think just satisfying their immediate boss is enough. They don't think about the whole organization as a whole. Unclear decision making, bureaucracy, overwhelm, analysis paralysis, communication issues, alignment issues, politics, painful meetings. Meetings consume a lot of time in hierarchical system. It is well said that 60% of the time of an organization is spent on meetings and ultimately the boss. So what's going wrong in our organizations? I came to a conclusion. It isn't anything going wrong. Rather, our organizations are perfectly designed to achieve these results. In other words, the way we have structured and built organizations makes these a side effect. They are featured in the very operating system of the company, which means if we want to transcend some of these challenges, we need to dig really deep. We need to question the very fundamental structure we use to grow our organizations. You will be surprised how a human body works. This search reminded me of our human body. There are maybe more than 1 trillion cells. There is no CEO, so there is no boss or management hierarchy ordering the other cells what to do. The cell has its own sub-organizing process. There is autonomy internal to that cell, and yet they are also integrated by an organ into a larger functioning and a higher level function. The heart does not tell cells what to do. It does not tell them how to do their job. It does not direct them. It integrates their own autonomous sub-organizing processes to a larger whole system. The human body isn't a command hierarchy, rather it's suborganized at every level, wrapped into a larger suborganized system. Thus, this in a nutshell is the paradigm holacracy brings into the system. Holacracy is an alternative to the management hierarchy. It is a replacement to the traditional management hierarchy. One of the common myths that among people is that holacracy has no structure. In fact, there is more structure. It is highly structured. It's like a human body, highly structured, ordered system. It's also highly adaptable and chaotic. We still have the clarity as to who does what and how the work breaks down, what we expect from people and how we align. It's more empowering system that gives people more autonomy, more power to adapt to the local environment. The golden rule of holacracy. To serve your role, you have full authority to make any decision or take any action as long as there is no rule against it. Please keep this in mind. The common myth that people have that employees have full freedom is not correct, because the golden rule itself tells there is a boundary within which employees have to take decisions. So, no bosses doesn't mean they can do whatever they want. Clarify boundaries so everyone knows what freedom they really have. Real empowerment requires a process, so holacratic approach also needs a rule book. So, under holacratic approach, managers have to evolve rules and boundaries. That is the framework within which employees have to work. In a holacratic approach, we add a governance process to every team. Unlike the traditional hierarchical style, in holacratic approach, people work in teams. There is no superior or subordinate. It's all about teams. Evolving roles. In a holacratic approach, one tension is given at a time, and the team is supposed to come above that tension. Unlike the traditional hierarchical style, where sometimes you are fully free and sometimes there is a lot of tension. Let us see what is tension. It is the feeling you get when you sense a gap between what is and what could be. In holacratic style of management, this tension is used to drive change. This is how an holacratic organization chart looks like. If you could recollect the slide 3, where I had shown the traditional hierarchical style, where there are 3 levels, you can easily see the difference or feel the difference. There are no levels here. The different parts of a system are integrated in a holistic way and all work as a team for the overall development of the organization. Now, let us see the difference between a hierarchical organization and a holacratic organization. You can easily see that in a hierarchical organization there are layers, whereas in a holacratic organization employees are integrated in teams. There are in this particular slide there are 3 teams. There may be more teams according to the size of the organization. Let us go to the summary of the holocracy key shifts. Static job descriptions. Let us compare the key shifts that holocracy brings into the system. In the traditional hierarchical system, the job description of employees are static. It is already told by their superiors what they are supposed to do. They are not allowed to think something different from that, and they are doing the same job continuously, which brings dissatisfaction to them. Whereas in a holocratic style of management, the role is dynamic. The role of employees are dynamic. They have the powers to think about their activities according to the change in the organization. They don't have to take orders or wait for the orders of their bosses. But keep this in mind within the framework, because the golden rule says as long as there is no rule against it, employees can do anything as long as there is no rule against it. So there are rules or a basic framework within which they have to work, but not like the traditional style where boss will be telling every day what to do, what not to do. In the traditional hierarchical style, the authority is delegated, whereas in a holistic approach, the authority is constitutional. Large-scale reorgs creates lot of tension among employees in traditional hierarchical style, whereas in a holocratic style of management, it is tension-driven iteration. Employees or groups or teams are given one tension at a time. The alignment is by politics. In traditional style, people enter into politics and politics plays a major role. They try to satisfy their immediate bosses, forgetting the benefit of the organization. But here, since there are no bosses, the alignment of employees is by governance. So, we can say that holocracy is a new social technology for organizations. It's a social technology. The reason that I mentioned social technology is because in society we work in groups, not like hierarchical system. There is no boss, no subordinates. Members or employees work in teams and work together for the holistic development of the organization. To conclude, I would like to state that holacracy is a method of decentralized management and organizational governance in which authority and decision making are distributed throughout the hierarchy or holarchy of self-organizing teams rather than being vested in a management hierarchy. These are some of the basics, or I have introduced you to the concept of holacracy, and now, my dear students, I want you to go through an in-depth analysis by going through e-books, books from the libraries. Since there is a pandemic now, go through the e-books, surf in the net, find some e-journals, get more information about holacracy and come up with more detailed information so that day after tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. we can interact and I can also learn from you. Thank you very much.